What's up, guys? Happy March. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm Joe Youngblood. I'm a habitat specialist with Whitetail Habitat Solutions, and today we're going to be going over our spring bedding pockets that we're going to be putting in. So instead of running around and gathering all the supplies before I started this video, I'm going to take you along with me, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to put it together and get ready for when it's planting time here in a month and a half or so. But what my goal is to have some things ready to go and a little more structured and organized so that when the plantings do come in, we're off to the races and we have stuff set up already. So let's go. Welcome to suburbia. All right, well, most of this we're not gonna take out of the truck because there's no point in doing that for this video and then bringing it back out to the truck. So I wanna show you quickly. We got zip ties. That's for the deer netting going to the T-posts for our pocket since we are gonna fence things in. We have basically the little stakes that are going to hold the weed barrier down, which is in this box. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have been following along, you've already seen that the T-posts are out at the farm, ready to go. Shorter lengths for our hard mast and soft mast trees, which we'll probably do more in another video, and the longer ones for our 7 or so foot deer net, so the deer can't easily hop over that. So let's get this inside and show you what's next. I can't believe how things have been warming up so quick. It's crazy. I've been spending a lot of time in the south just doing fly-ins because harsh winters can be tough if we have too much snow to do a lot of client visits, but these southern states are pretty much at green up already, early March, and I got my first driving trip actually this weekend around Michigan, so it's going to be a lot of fun and I'm excited. Sometimes it's nice to be able to take your truck and put everything you need in it and not worry about just packing one duffel and stuff like that, you know, waters, extra clothes, gear, whatever it be. So everyone say hi to Badgie. Here's your good boy. All right, so just to catch everyone up too, I don't live on my property. Drive an hour and a half, a little under that to get there. And so it makes sense to prep and plan, especially if things get too wet and you can't drive out. I know I've mentioned in a couple videos, taking all this heavier stuff like T-posts, weed barrier, things if you're going back even a quarter mile and you had to hand carry it, which I've done some fencing like that, it's not fun, it's a lot of work. So even though things are warm now, we're gonna be having a cold front come through like this weekend, next week here in March. So I think that it'll be plenty frozen to throw things on a small little UT or ATV trailer and get it all. And then what I plan to do is, drop the group of T-posts and other supplies in designated areas that will be close to a few of these pockets that I'm going to be doing. So worst comes to worst, it's wet and I want to start putting things into the ground, especially when the cuttings come and you want to get them in as quick as possible, right? To take advantage of their, freshness and the spring moisture we're going to have. That everything else is in place. You don't need to worry about those things or rutting up your property trying to drive supplies out there. You can go maybe walk within a couple hundred yards if needed into these designated piles, get the stuff and get it going. So this is these are weed barrier boxes. I think they were just out of the 6 foot. I didn't want to pay for shipping, so these came from Lowe's and I think they only had 6.5 foot. So I'm going to reel these out, and this is a big part of what we're going to be doing today. And then like I said, the T-posts are already there. Those are significant costs. These are pretty significant costs. And you add in the cuttings, guys, we're at, over a few $1,000 at least. So that is why I'm choosing to fence, the different pockets that I'm going to be doing. So each pocket individually will be fenced with this 7 or so foot fencing. And it's a deer netting. And I'm actually going to show that to you right now. Now, when I looked at the deer netting, it really ranged in price. It was like anywhere between the $15 ones, which are the ones I bought, so fingers crossed that it works okay, and like over $100 for the same thing. I think 100 feet or so of 7 foot high deer netting. So this is what I got. like I said, it was around 15 bucks. I think Tractor Supply, 3/4 inch mesh opening with a 7-foot height. So the T-posts I think are 8 feet. I figured they'll go in a foot, maybe a little more. They don't need to be super crazy because it's just preventing, you know, animals. And then I'm gonna zip tie those to the T-posts. So that's kind of the plan. These are pretty light, but I have 12 or 13 of these. And that's the amount of pockets we're gonna be doing. So we're gonna say 12, and I'm kind of bought supplies for 13 in case we wanna do one in front of a blind to, you know, blend a new blind in or something like that, not just added bedding, cover, and food for the deer. But anyway, so I'm gonna get these inside too, and we'll move on to the next thing. All right, guys, so I thought I would draw real quick on a paper to give you a better visual of what I'm gonna be doing out there, especially when it comes to planting time, and I'm describing and showing you guys all this prep. So on paper, I'm gonna flip you around. This is what we're looking at as far as a pocket goes, okay? So if you took a 30 by 30 foot circle, I think it's something around 96 feet perimeter wise. So I wanna make sure I don't go over that so that the 100-foot netting will encompass a full circle, okay? Then we'll have about 6 T-posts. Again, they're 8 foot, so a little over a foot in the ground. I'll have about a 7-foot high net. And then I have 6.5 foot weed barrier, 6.5 feet this way. I have 4 rolls of over 300 feet. So we're gonna have some extra, but that's great because I have some other, like I said, hard mast and soft mast trees. And maybe, I know I have some additional shrubs and other, you know, screening type stuff that I can use for blinds and things like that. So again, 6 T-posts around, the netting will go all the way around the outside. And then what I'm gonna be doing currently is prepping the weed barrier for each pocket. So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna pre-cut today a 30-foot strip and 4 12-foot strips, because that'll essentially save me 6, so that's 12 feet per pocket that I'm gonna save and I can utilize for other plantings out of these 4-foot rolls that I have, okay? So the plan in these pockets is to put around 4 trees in the center. These will be hybrid willow, hybrid poplar type trees. We can see which one ends up growing best in our soil and what maybe we like best for deer habitat. And so if I'm doing 12 pockets, at least 4 trees, I need 48 trees. I'm also getting 6-foot cuttings of these. So literally within 1 year of these guys roots sinking in and getting a year of growth until the end of summer, since we're planting in as early as we can, you know, they're gonna look like trees basically off the bat. They're definitely more expensive, but you guys know that, you know, one of the issues for us has been the regeneration, right? Different fields, you know, with what seeds are in the seed bed, different fields regenerate differently. And some of the farm fields that I had where it's a little sandier didn't regenerate as well as I thought they would, where further back where it's a little more moist, I have other poplar trees and things like that shooting up that are 5-6 feet tall already. So it's up to us in that regard then, if strategy-wise, this is a bedding area and we need more cover and food, we're gonna have to manually do it. It's part of the pros and cons versus the people that need to take out trees, do all the soil amendments and add food plots that way or bedding, etc. And the people that have fields already, they don't need to take out trees, but they may need to manually put stuff back for the deer. So coming back here, the trees will be, like I said, okay, so 6-foot cuttings, they're gonna go in the ground around 18 inches or so. And then shrub wise, I'm gonna do 4 or so shrubs along each 12-foot leg. And those will probably get to right around 12 feet tall. You can cut them back and things like that, but they're not gonna grow as tall as those middle hybrid trees would grow. I mean, they can get 50, 60, 70 feet tall unless you keep them tapered back, or maybe you cut off some and use your own cuttings. But 4 per leg, including the ends of these 30-foot, the 30-foot strip is 24 shrubs per pocket. So 12 times 24, at least 288 difference. And those we're just going to be doing a 12-inch cutting on the shrubs, which will be silky willow and dappled willow. Now the silky willow, technically, you know, the deer definitely don't prefer that silky willow as much, and so the dappled willow is something that is more preferred browse by the deer. And so, you know, if you place silky willow in a path where they're going to be moving all the time, or maybe they're starving, there's not enough food in your geographical area, then sure, you could find a little bit of a different result. But in this case, I'm going to have food for the deer once these are established, and cover that the deer don't prefer to eat. So I get that variety, right? They're going to be comfortable. They're going to have browse that they like, but there's also going to be maybe hopefully some plants that is great side cover, along with the switchgrass and the Norway spruce that we've already done for the last couple of years. So there's thermal cover, there's food, there's other side cover they don't prefer to eat, and we get that good mixture of stuff. And additionally, you know, that's also why we're fencing it. Not only is it expensive, but I want a year, maybe two, we'll see, I'll keep you guys posted, of growth. So we take that down, and the shrubs can keep up with any deer browse. I'm not in an area that's super, super heavy with the deer browse, so I think this is gonna work out great either way, because they will be fenced off, the deer can't pick at it, and then it should be sustainable once we take the fence down. So that's what a pocket's generally gonna look, guys. And what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a 30-foot and these 4 12-foot strips on the weed barrier, and then I'm going to pre-roll them. So I'll have, you know, a rubber banded or whatever roll of 1 pocket. I can set those out, cut them, get them situated, pin them down, get the T-posts in the ground, and I'm gonna have all that done before the cuttings even come. So with the T-posts and the weed barrier down, all I'm gonna need to do when the cuttings come is possibly take a torch or an X-Acto knife, cut into the weed barrier, stick the cutting in for all of the different, you know, 4 plus 24, so 28 different cuttings total per pocket, and then fence it off and zip tie it, and I should be good to go. I heard a torch is a nice little tip for breaking up the weed barrier. You actually just light it, you know, torch it real quick, and it makes the hole for you, which will probably be a little easier as your knife gets dull and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and the shrubs, the smaller ones here, the dappled willow and the silky willow, those will be 12-inch cuttings. They'll be 9 inches into the ground, okay? So plenty deep enough to get as much moisture as possible if your soil's just so-so. And while the 24-inch cuttings may be nice in some areas, I feel if, you know, you are in a little bit drier soil, the thickness of those 24-inch cuttings may be a little bit tough for it to get situated, just because the cutting will be a little bit thicker. And in this case, it should sprout a little easier, even though it might just be a little bit smaller off the get-go. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna get this weed barrier rolled out, I'm gonna start cutting and making this nice and organized, and then along, or probably after this driving trip in Michigan, I'm gonna drop it all off at the farm, hook up the ATV trailer, and then not the weed barrier, but I'm gonna drop off the T-posts and some of the heavy stuff in specific locations, and I'll bring that to you guys too. All right, here's our weed barrier, and what's cool is you have these green markings every foot or so. And this roll, like I said, 300 feet by 6.5, but it actually ships in packages with it folded. So it's 3.25 then, feet wide when it ships. And so when I roll this to cut it, I'm just gonna leave it folded, because why not, right? It's just folded over, the same length applies. I'm just gonna roll it down my living room right here and cut it off at 30 feet and then 4 sections of 12. You know what's cool about 300 feet roll and 30-foot strips? It's 10 equal pieces, baby. Good thing I got that MBA. But did pretty close. I mean, this is the last piece. It's probably, I don't know, 2 inches over. So not too bad. We got 10 strips, 2 more to do. On to the 12-footers. So what's nice, guys, is now that I've cut, it actually cut really easy. I'll try and leave the brand on this, but it seems nice. My 30-foot piece, I can now make 11 more without measuring and just roll it right over the same piece, make the same cuts. Boom, all the 30 pieces will be done. Do the 12-foot measure, and then same thing, but a few more pieces. So, and if I didn't explain already, the 1 foot, green lines on here is nice, because let's say you want to do 1 foot or 1.5 foot on off of each edge and then stagger it. The width markers or measurements already there for you, so you can scatter it scatter the cuttings very easy, very accurate without you know, measuring all the time. So you can get a lot done in one day. So we'll keep at this. Like I said, then what I'm gonna do is kind of wrap together one 30-foot piece and 4 12-foot pieces. You know, tie that off with a rubber band or whatever. That'll be one you know, pocket worth of weed barrier. Spread those T-posts out. I'll go back another day to the farm. I'll put all the T-posts in. Or first I'll lay down the weed barrier. I'll stake that all down and then put the T-posts around so I know I cover the whole, you know, pocket well. And then that'll be a day, and go back when we get our cuttings here, probably late April. We're zone, some say zone 6, some say zone 5, depends on the part of Michigan, and the lower peninsula even that you're in. But I think for this regard, they say zone 5, so probably not till late April, even to early May. You don't want to get a huge frost, guys, for these, you know, similar to kind of like buckwheat or things like that. Maybe that, not that temperamental, but it's not really like a spruce tree. So you want to still make sure that you're not going to get a bunch of frost or a hard frost once these are in the ground. So if we get into, you know, May, every once in a while, we do have a little something close to a frost. So fingers crossed, but we're usually very safe. I've been putting these spruces in you know, mid-April, and those have been fine. So these, I think at the end of April, early May, won't be an issue. And as soon as they come in, I'll bring it to you guys. So let me know if you have any questions. It's been a pleasure. I know it's been a week or two. I'm off again here shortly. Things have been super busy, meeting a lot of great people, having a ton of fun. But hopefully this guys give you an idea, you know, of one way how to do pockets. It's not the only way by any means. I give all of our clients plenty of options, but this is one way to really do a good job, I think, and get some growth where we need it. So again, any questions, let me know, and we will see you guys soon. Okay, so most of you guys watching my channel are between the ages of 45 and 65 and male, so I have a strong feeling that you can probably figure this out yourself. But essentially the last fold that I'm doing here for the 12th pocket, if you will, I did all the 30 footers, then I did all the 12 footers. So then I'm taking my 30 footer and I'm placing it within my 12 foot pieces, and then I am just folding it over and making a small blanket essentially per pocket. There we go, 12 pockets ready to go. Takes a little longer than you would originally think, but at least we'll be organized here and good to go when it's time to put them out.